Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I'm going to talk another Star Frontiers. This is actually a follow-up to a video I did a while ago, back in October. I talked about the very first module that came out with the Star Frontiers box set crash on Volturnus. And I basically did not give it a very good review. I said this was its first mistake, and I used a kind of a trolly thumbnail to get people's attention. And I kind of basically said there were a lot of issues, a lot of problems from a storyline telling, module creating, game design point of view with that first module. And it had a bunch of views and a bunch of nice comments, and everything was great, and months went by. And recently, I've gotten a lot more comments on that video, and one fella even said, I owe you an apology. I was getting real mad at you, but having watched the whole video, I can now see it's coming from a place of appreciation for Star Frontiers. So I was going to say a lot of nasty things about you on the Facebook thread, but I thought, no, let's give him a full fair shake. And I do see where you're coming from, but I have various, points against what you're saying in the video, etc., etc. I was like, oh, okay, thanks, man. That's where I'm coming from on the whole thing. What Facebook thread? Apparently, somebody shared my video on a Star Frontiers fan book or group in Facebook, and it has not been going down very well. And I did ask that guy, hey, what's the name of the group? I should probably join it and face the music, because I'm sure you're all got your knives out or your laser pistols out and ready to tear me a new one. I haven't actually heard back. So can somebody comment down below, let me know where the Facebook thread is so that I can take it on and, fulfill, be responsible for my criticism, because I do stand by what I said about the game, or that first module. It also explains why it's suddenly been getting a whole bunch more comments and things. I was actually kind of surprised. So one fella actually mentioned, you should be putting spoilers on here because you're talking about whole parts of the plot that people don't know. I'm like, it's a 35, 40-year-old module. I didn't really think in terms of having to mention the spoilers ahead. I will do so in future, and apologies to anybody that I wrecked Volturnus 4 with that description. I actually cut a lot of stuff out because that video was getting very long. And there have been some people that, were very opinionated on my use of things like, for example, the thumbnail here. It's very, it's intentionally being kind of internet troll, deal with it, yo, kind of thing. And this guy was just like, oh, can you believe how this YouTuber has defaced Jeff Easley's artwork, and he's just full of crap about what he thinks about Volturnus. And I was just like, okay, first of all, yes, the criticism of Volturnus, I will take that on the chin, for sure. That was where I'm coming from. The defacing of Jeff Easley's art, first of all, I'm sure Jeff is perfectly not worrying about it. And secondly, where my discussion about Volturnus came from was as a Star Frontiers fan. I was both a player initially and then a referee, and really, really loved the game, especially as a referee, because I could forge it into my own, and I quite enjoyed a lot of things about it. But I do a lot of different reviews on my channel, and I am, unfortunately, one of those reviewers who generally talks about stuff that I like. So most of the things I talk about, I'm giving very positive, glowing, praise for it and that kind of thing. And when I was doing Volturnus, I thought, this is one of those rare opportunities where I get to, be the other kind of reviewer. Sort of, this is not very good in my opinion, and here's why. And I thought, let's just go the full 9 yards here. Let's throw, the what's that guy, the internet meme with the hat, the sort of douchebag hat guy, and I'll put on deal with it sunglasses and a big pipe, and just be like, yeah, man, I'm going to troll the heck out of this. Star Frontiers Volturnus module was crap. Yeah, be extreme. And I guess for somebody who is appreciating the role-playing game, pen and paper game itself, that did probably come across as a real dick move for me. So I apologize that my intentionally negative thumbnail maybe was insulting. I I'm not going to take it down or change it or anything, but I just want to explain. This is where I'm coming from. I usually have so many good things to say about stuff that to say something negative was refreshing and different. So I thought, let's go the full tilt and put on a thumbnail that is kind of there to stir things up. It's not to be clickbaity in any way. I'm sure a lot of people must think, oh, he's just doing that to get attention. It's like, no. I just genuinely wanted to say, hey, you guys all think I love everything. I don't. Here, I do love Star Frontiers, but I do not like how that first level for Volturnus came about. So, deal with it, as per the glasses. Now, there were some interesting comments. The one I really want to focus on, there was one that made me think. A guy called Nick Landry made a comment, and I hope, Nick, you don't mind me bringing this up. You did put a little like on my reply, so I hope you're cool with all of this. His comment was, man, this guy must really hate the intro sequence to Skyrim. Because in the game, or in Crash on Volturnus, one of my biggest gripes initially, right off the bat, is you are shoehorned into this. You have to escape the ship, and you have to crash on Volturnus. There are pirates on the invading force that are taking over the starship that's taking you there. So you have no choice, but you have to get onto the lifeboats and you have to crash on Volturnus. There is no way around it. The first few pages are basically telling you, tough beans, if you want to do something different, you have to do this. And I don't like that as a design for any game, whether it's a video game or a pen and paper role-playing game. So what about the Skyrim comparison? And I thought, that's kind of cool, because you do start off bound and chained in a cart going through a village to where you will, this isn't a spoiler, it's the first 10 minutes of the game, you are going to be executed as part of this sort of rebel group. You have no weapons, you have no armor, you have no freedom of movement. You're bound and chained, you're stuck. It's an intro to kind of get you up to speed, and it's compelling dramatically. It's like, ooh, where am I? I'm in a cart. Who are these other people? Hey, they're talking to me. What's going on? Well, we're going to be taken to get our heads cut off because we're members of this rebel group. What? So how come, as per Nick's question, how come that's okay, if you think it's okay, but you don't like the beginning of Crash on Volturnus, where you're basically in the same boat. You're on this spaceship, and then suddenly pirates attack, and you have to get to the escape modules, and then crash on the planet, and work out a survival on this alien world. How come one is okay, the other one isn't? Because I can see the parallels, and I thought, he's got an interesting point. I like where he's coming from. So I'm going to maybe just analyze that as part of this whole, like, I love Star Frontiers. I'm not a big fan of Volturnus, the module series, but I love Star Frontiers. So as a pseudo apology to those people in the Facebook group who think I hate it, no. But also, it's worthy of criticism, and this is an interesting parallel. What about the Skyrim comparison? So, I don't know that they are an exact equivalency here. With Skyrim, you pop in the disc, you start up the game, and you know nothing about the world. You don't know what you're getting into. You're looking around. These characters on the back of the cart are telling you things, and you're taking in this big world, this big open world, and then as you step off the carts, the guards ask you, well, who are you? And then you create your character. You generate what kind of look, what kind of sex, what race are you from, what's your background? And then they are like, right, well, step forward, you're going to be killed anyway. And again, this is the first 10 minutes of Skyrim, and it's an old game, so I'm going to say minor spoilers ahead, I guess. As you are about to get executed, dragon attacks, you can then move about and the adventure begins. Pick up stuff, move ahead. The difference, I would say, between that and Volturnus is not the beginning of Star Frontiers. You read through the Alpha-Dawn book, and you're going through, well, this looks very cool. You can be a technician, or you can be medical, or you can get a laser gun, or you can be a Dralicite or a Vrust. Okay, I'm going to roll up my character now. I'm going to do something, assuming... Okay, we won't go there. I'll get to that in a sec. So, you roll up your character initially with maybe adventure in your mind already of what are we going to do? Are we going to be in this Blade Runner planet where we're going to be, finding androids? Or are we going to be in some starship exploring strange new worlds? What's going on with this character that I am creating right now? And you're going to have your DM or your GM, referee, say to you, don't sink a lot into like beam weapons or any of that kind of stuff. Just trust me on this. You're not going to really need those at first. Okay. And after you have created your character and you probably have a kernel in your mind of what this guy or girl is going to be like and what kind of adventures will you get into, then Volturnus begins and all of that stuff is kind of stripped away, or at least any excitement of where are we going to go, what are we going to do? It's like, pirates attack, you got to get on this lifeboat and you have to crash on the planet. End of story. Or, well, I guess beginning of story technically, but now I don't think, like whereas with Skyrim, it's being used as a dramatic element to launch you into the world. I would say that with Volturnus, it's actually a handicap. It's like you had these ideas in your mind when you rolled up your character. And then Volturnus basically strips a lot of that away and says, too bad, you're now crashed on a planet. And I think that was a mistake. I don't think that was a good design. Now, as the thing I was about to mention, I will now mention, again, I came from many years of playing Dungeons and Dragons, where it was like, okay, we are used to the rolling up characters starting in the tavern and meeting up and getting the adventure and then going into the dungeon and fighting the monsters. It was sort of, we had done that a lot already. Maybe if you're new to all pen and paper adventures and you're starting with Star Frontiers, or you don't have that long history of what it's like to play those types of games already in your mind, maybe it's a fun parallel for you to begin an adventure in this way where you don't have anything to start off with. My biggest beef at that time, as a player first, because I became the referee later, as a player, I was really disappointed that here I had all these visions of grand science fiction adventure in my mind when I created my character, and then I was told, forget all that, you're going to crash on the planet. I don't think that is an equivalent to Skyrim, where you start off in this prison-like experience and you're like, where am I? And then you create your character and then you are left to your own devices. I don't think it really is a similar thing. I guess an argument I would make is, let's say you've never played an open world role-playing game in video game format before. All you've ever played are shoot 'em ups and fighting games and Pac-Man type stuff. And you're handed a controller and you are told, right, start an open world. You've heard of things like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption and all these other really exciting big worlds, and you're like, oh god, I can't wait to start this, and you press play, and you're sitting for 5 or 6 minutes listening to guys in the back of a cart. I would argue, I'll bet you a lot of first-time players of open world video games would be like, come on, can I not do something? Come on, I'm hitting all the buttons. Why are we stuck here? I can move my head around and look, and that's it. Where's the action? This is really, really boring. I can't stand this. That mindset, that is what was going through my head when I started up playing Volturnus. I was just like, come on, I want to get into the car and I want to shoot the laser guns and I want to take on the robots. And it's like, no, none of that. There's some pirates, you got to escape from them. Here's a lifeboat, get in there, and then crash land on the planet. Quick. I didn't like it. I did not find that good game design in a role-playing game. So hence all my criticism. And I'm sure the Facebook crowd are not too thrilled with that, but that I still stand behind it. So to Nick, that's sort of my response is, I like where you're coming from on the Skyrim connection. That was a good parallel to draw. I don't think it's exactly equivalent for the reasons I just gave. So yeah, I just thought I'd do a little video to sort of follow up on that. Also, to the Facebook crowd, all these people who are like, this guy hates Star Frontiers. It's like, okay, no, I love Star Frontiers. And you know what's interesting to me, I've talked a lot of D&D, and I've had a few views here and there. But I've really found a huge, passionate fan base for Star Frontiers. A lot more interest in those videos than my D&D stuff. it kind of reminds me years ago, on a last minute thing, I made a movie review of Alien 3 thinking, it's around Halloween, what the hell, just throw this together real quick. And my goodness, did I get a lot of feedback from a lot of people who really love Alien 3. And it surprised me because I've never been a huge fan of that movie, and I didn't think anybody else was, but it's got a huge fan base behind it. There's like this passionate crowd. I've listened to a lot of reviews online of people who will go into a lot more detail what it is that's so great about that movie. And so I think there must be something similar for Star Frontiers, a hidden fan base, or at least not one I was expecting, of people who are really, really loving that game. And I'm very glad because I have so many more Star Frontiers videos I want to do, but I just want to let everybody know I don't hate it. Okay, my criticism of Volturnus was basically I think they could have done a better job for the very first module. You know, give us a crash of Volturnus 6 or 7 modules later. You know, let us sort of get our feet wet of what Star Frontiers is compared to other role-playing games before you crash us on a planet and there you gotta go find aliens and deal with that stuff. Like, I don't think it was the best foot forward. It's kind of like a pilot for a TV show, and then it's not a very good pilot, and it's like, well, who knows what else was possible in that thing? If that's an indication of where the writers come from, not interested. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to stop there, but there will be more Star Frontiers videos coming that are not to do with Volturnus and the anger and the Facebook crowd. And again, somebody tell me what crowd it is. I'll go there. I'll face the music. I hope it goes well. But yeah, in the meantime, until the next time we do a Star Frontiers video or any of them, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.